So I say to myself, can this really be? Is this still small voice the way the Spirit speaks to me? Touching me when I'm quiet, touching me when I'm alone, opening me as I surrender to the way of what's being shown. Is the Spirit of the Lord speaking to you? Probably so. You know, this week I have been on my spiritual rejuvenation experience, and it has been just an experience like no other. It's a time for me to pause and just take a breath, so to speak, and just to make sure that I'm flowing the way that I need to be flowing. And if I'm not, it's a way to clear out anything that needs to be removed, anything that needs to be adjusted, so to speak. And so I didn't get to this place on my own. It happened as a result of me feeling a sense of a pull to do this. And it's like divinely things began to just speak to me and line up for it. And so that's the reason why I opened up this video recording with that particular quote, because even though, you know, you can be in the hustle and bustle of a routine trying to get things done throughout every day, every week, we have to keep ourselves sensitive enough to know when the Spirit is pulling on us and beckoning for us to do something or follow an instruction. And so that's how I got to the Spiritual Rejuvenation Week, and it has been more than I ever thought it could be. It has been some tear moments at times, just the flood of revelation and information that comes in, you know, to questions that you've had or things that have happened that you didn't quite understand was happening, but you're beginning to get understanding on it. And just things, you know, different terminology that I began to develop over the years and not even understanding where that word come from. Why am I using that particular technology or language? And so this week has brought a lot of awakening, so to speak. And one of the things that I have really been focusing on this week is just the vision for your life. So many times we can spend years and months trying to fulfill a vision that we think is what we should be doing pertaining to our life. But is that vision really the vision that God has for your life? And, you know, I want people to realize, if they don't already realize it, is that especially young people, because a lot of times we go to school and we sometimes don't know what we want to be or what we want to do. What should we get a degree in? And so because we're not sure, or because we have not sought the Spirit of God, we end up on a path that causes us to waste time and end up getting in debt if you have to get a student loan to pay for college or what have you. And then when you get in older in age, you know, your 40s and all of that, then it's like you wise up. You start awakening to a lot of things. And one of the things that was awakened to me is just remembering to that we're not here on our own. We're here because of a purpose, a divine purpose, and that everything that pertains to our life needs to be in alignment with that purpose. And if it's not in alignment with that purpose, then we're going to waste time and probably experiencing some frustrations and some suffering along the way. And so I had a person that asked me when I was sharing this with them, you know, how do you know your purpose? Well, the main thing is, if you don't know your purpose, then you seek the person who does know what your purpose is, and that will be God. And you begin to ask him the questions. And from my rejuvenation week, one of the things that I've come to learn during that time is that, you know, we can ask questions, but you got to make sure that it's the right question. You got to make sure that it is an empowering question and not a disempowering question. And so if you want to know what your purpose is, what is God's vision for your life, the first question you should ask is, what is your highest vision for my life? The next question you can ask is, what seeks to emerge in me, through me, as a way of my life? What is the highest vision for this project or this business? Because you can also seek God on that. What is the highest vision for that project or business? And then you want to listen. You want to be sensitive enough to be able to hear the instruction when it comes, because it can come through people. It could come through something that you hear or overhear. And so, but if you're not sensitive to being tuned in and seeking the answer, you may miss it. The next question you want to ask is, what must I become in order to manifest the vision? A lot of times we desire vision, but we're not willing to become what it takes to manifest it. And I have learned that if you're not willing to become what it takes to manifest it, then you're not going to get it. And so is it going to cause you to have to develop more love? Is it going to cause you to have to be more forgiving? And if you're not willing to become that, then you cannot manifest it. So that's what I mean by that. The other question you want to ask is, what must I release in order to manifest the vision for my life? You know, a lot of times we have all kind of attachments that need to be detached, that we need to basically let go and release. And then sometimes we are too detached. There are things that we should care about that we don't, because we're indifferent about it. We want to be people of non-attachment, because if you are a person that's always attached to things, especially if it's no longer serving you, you need to let it go, because if you don't, it's going to hold you up and prevent you from manifesting the vision that God has for your life. The next question you want to ask is, what talents, gifts, skills, and qualities do I already possess that will serve this vision? What do you already have? Because most of us, we already have some skills and abilities and qualities that could help us get started, that we can start using now. And we need to be aware of those skills and talents so that we can begin to know how to better utilize them. And it gives us strength and encouragement and confidence to know that, hey, I do have something to offer in a situation. And then after you do that, then you want to say yes. You know, once God began to open up to you, reveal things to you, you have to say yes, because that's a way of saying I accept what it is that God has for me. And as a result of that, I've got to send a signal and give permission to be used in the capacity that my vision is calling for. And so that's how you can begin to figure out what your purpose is. Begin to ask those questions, and to really think about them, and then to really look inward. You know, one of the greatest sanctuaries is our inner sanctuary. And when we spend time with ourselves on a regular basis, take a pause, you know, to look, to check in with ourselves and make sure we're okay. Make sure that, you know, we're keeping ourselves mentally, spiritually intact. You know, a lot of times it's one thing to be physically healthy, but what about that internal part? We want to make sure that our insides is healthy. We want to make sure that we're healthy mentally. We want to make sure that we're healthy financially. And so, and that way we'll be wholesome. And then we're able to fully manifest the vision and assignment that God has for our life. And so ask those questions, be sensitive, be open. Don't be closed-minded, because when you're closed-minded, you will miss the answer when it begins to speak. So many times we can have some prejudice, so to speak, where if a person looks a certain way, we can't receive the answer from them. Or if they dress a certain way, we can't receive a word from them. And so don't be closed-minded like that. Be open, because I'm here to tell you, those will be the people that will have your answer. And sometimes I believe it's God's way of testing us and showing us basically one of those qualities that we need to get rid of and release in order to manifest the vision. Because if we have that quality, we won't be a benefit to everyone. We'll only be a benefit to those that fit our little description of acceptable. And so watch that, because that was one thing that I almost missed, looking at the outer, or maybe thinking a person was weird or whatever, but that person had my answer. And I could have probably been in the process much sooner, but because in my mind I was looking at the outer. We've got to get away from that. Please don't do that. But I'm so glad that the Spirit of God kept working with me, kept impressing upon me, and kept this person before me, because that person truly has been a catalyst for me this week in my spiritual rejuvenation week. And for that, I know my life will never be the same. And now I have this new renewed sense of energy that I can begin to infuse in my everyday life, as well as share it and impart it to those that God blessed me to come into contact with. So that is it. And I am signing off of my week of rejuvenation. I'm so grateful and thankful for the opportunity to have had all of that time. There were some nights this week where I was up almost 24 hours. I could not leave out of this office. I could not stop soaking up teachings and information. I mean, I didn't realize how hungry my spirit was. And just, you know, when you get something that you've been seeking and on a journey for years and years and years, and you finally get it, it's hard to let it go. And I'm still trying to come down and just, you know, say, okay, you know, next week is getting close. You're going to have to, you know, get with it and get ready to come up out of here so that you can start this new week off. But think on those questions so that you can begin to manifest your vision, and then you can be a catalyst of what God is doing in this hour, and then He can use you greatly. And then in return, you will feel so fulfilled and expressed inside. All right, take care.